Welcome back to the journey of exploring 100 facts about the Ice Age. Today, we enter Part 4, where you will witness the frozen world through the eyes, the ears, and even the instincts of the giant beings that once ruled the Earth. Because, in the Ice Age, you couldn't survive by sight alone. You had to hear like a dire wolf, smell like a short-faced bear, sense vibrations like a mammoth, and see in the darkness like a Smilodon. Before you could spot the bison herd, the dire wolf had already detected their scent from kilometers away. Before you heard a sound, the short-faced bear had already sensed blood drifting in the wind. Before you ever saw the Smilodon, it had already felt the heartbeat of its prey through the frozen ground. And when the deep blue sky of the Ice Age blanketed the entire steppe, the American lion could still see every small movement in the dark. In this part, we step directly into the sensory brain of the Ice Age and uncover the superhuman sense of smell of ancient wolves, the night vision of apex predators, the vibration-sensing ability of mammoths, how Smilodon predicted the perfect moment to strike, using nothing but sound and breath, and the strange forms of intelligence that allowed them to endure those endless, lightless nights of ice. Part 4 is where you will understand. In the harshest frozen era on Earth, senses were not just tools, they were survival itself. You are standing in the middle of a frozen steppe. Snow is falling so heavily, it wipes out your entire field of vision. The wind howls, whipping moisture into white dust that lashes across your face. The air is so cold that every breath turns to smoke the moment it leaves your mouth. In that scene, humans can't see more than a few meters ahead. Every sound is shredded by the wind. Every scent is blown away instantly by the blizzard. But for the dire wolf, this is when it becomes strongest. In the harshest era the planet has ever known, when a storm turned the whole world white, the dire wolf's sense of smell became an unmatched weapon so powerful it could detect traces humans would never notice. And because of that, they became some of the most efficient hunters of the Ice Age. The dire wolf's nasal bones. Longer, larger internal turbinates, more complex structure, containing a massive number of scent receptor cells. Thanks to that, they can detect the breath of prey, smell diluted blood carried in the wind, track footprints buried under snow, sense the direction a herd is moving. While humans are almost smell blind, the dire wolf can read an entire book written in scent. In a blizzard, the wind shifts constantly. Scents are torn apart. Snow buries all traces. Sound is swallowed whole. But the dire wolf can follow scent layers riding the wind, distinguish new scent from old scent, identify the direction of a bison herd even when the storm blows against it, track blood even when the smell is extremely faint. They are never fooled by the wind. They decode it. When a bison is wounded, just a few drops of blood fall onto the snow. Even the color is hard to see. The wind dilutes the scent. But to a dire wolf, every molecule of scent carries information. They can distinguish blood from different animals, know which one is badly injured, know which direction it ran, and how far it has gone. It is a perfect navigation system built from smell. When scent meets cold air, the smell sinks lower, gets twisted by the wind, clings to the surface of the snow. But the dire wolf detects tiny differences in humidity, identifies the densest scent layer in the wind, finds the center of the scent cloud. This allows them to locate prey even when 10 other bison herds are passing through the same area. Compared to modern wolves, their brain region for scent processing is about 30–40% larger. Their neural connections are denser. Their scent response is faster. They have the ability to store scent memory for longer. They remember the smell of each herd. Bison herd. A distinct grassy smell. Bison, herd B, a salty earth smell. Horses, a different kind of fur scent. An injured individual. The metallic scent of blood. They recognize by scent the way humans recognize faces. Dire wolves often lower their nose close to the ground. Read scents frozen into ice crystals. Distinguish fresh scent from old scent. Infer wind direction from when prey passed through. Calculate the most efficient running path. Every step they take is a scientific decision, not a random one. One of their greatest strengths. Dire wolves do not hunt alone. They spread out according to secondary scents. Determine the prey's running angle. Set up a perimeter from multiple directions. Lock onto the wounded target. Prevent the prey from escaping into deep snow. The sense of smell is the radar. Pack intelligence is the strategy. Together, they create a hunting machine almost impossible to escape. It isn't magic. It is evolutionary science. They analyze wind speed, scent density, height of scent in the air, previous wind direction, where the scent was strongest in the last few minutes. From that, they estimate the position of the bison herd in 2 minutes, 10 minutes, even 20 minutes. No need to see, no need to hear, only the scent of the frozen world. Smilodon vanished. American lions vanished. Short-faced bears vanished. But the dire wolf survived tens of thousands of years longer. Why? They found prey in the worst conditions, thrived through the long winter darkness, could distinguish danger, humans, predators, adapted to constantly changing nature. They weren't the biggest. They weren't the strongest. They weren't the fastest. But they could read the world with the most refined sense of the entire Ice Age. The dire wolf's sense of smell is a map, a compass, a radar, a weapon, a form of communication, a way to find food, and the key to survival in that world of cold, white, endless blizzards. Scent was the only real light. Morning in the Ice Age. A pale blue sky. The ground white and so silent it feels as if time itself is asleep. Thick snow absorbs every sound. Even your breath disappears into the wind. But within that absolute stillness, there are creatures that can hear what you never could. Not the wind, not the falling snow, but the tiny vibrations of the earth, carried through frozen ground and compacted ice. The secret sounds meant only for giants like megaglaciers and mammoths. This is not a metaphor. This is scientific truth. In the feet of a mammoth, a specialized layer of tissue, a bone structure built to transmit vibrations, sensitive nerves connected directly to the brain, functioning like natural seismic microphones. They can hear the footsteps of another mammoth herd kilometers away, the tremors of large animals running, the low-frequency rumbles from members of their own herd, even the subtle vibrations signaling an approaching storm. They listen through the earth, not just through their ears. The ears of a megaglaciers rotate 40-60 degrees on each side, adjust angle constantly, distinguish tiny sounds in the wind, detect snow being compressed when a predator steps forward, recognize the movement of a dire wolf in sparse forest. In a world full of blizzards, hearing is their second pair of eyes, because the Ice Age was an era of blizzards that erased visibility, weak light, winter days that lasted for months, sound absorbed by snow. If they relied only on sight, they would not survive. But with hearing, They sensed predators approaching, knew where their herd was, knew when a major storm was forming, knew the safest direction to move. Their ears were a compass for survival. Mammoths produced low-frequency rumbles of 5 and 15 hertzes, lower than the human hearing threshold, traveling across the ground, reaching many times farther than normal calls. These sounds do not travel through air, are not carried away by wind, move directly through the soil into the feet of others. Entire herds could speak to each other from 4-8 kilometers away. It was the language of giants. Ice Age predators like dire wolves, Panthera atrox, Smilodon, all moved light and fast. But megaglaciers could hear snow compacting under a predator's footstep, breathing carried in the wind, hooves slipping on thin ice, the subtle approach of a hunter. When their ears stiffened and turned, it was the sign they sensed something in the darkness. When danger was detected, mammoths produced deep rumbles from the throat. The sound vibrated down their legs, spread across the ground, traveled great distances. The whole herd felt it through their feet before hearing it with their ears. A single signal could save the entire herd from blizzards, cracking ice, a dire wolf pack, an ambushing American lion, or even warn about unstable ground. It was the seismic alarm network of the Ice Age. The Ice Age was not always bright and white. For months at a time, the sky was dim, light was weak, blizzards obscured everything. Visibility dropped to a few meters. Hearing became eyes, radar, warning system, communication tool. Evolution selected individuals that heard better, reacted faster, distinguished sound more sharply. That is why so many Ice Age species had large ears and extraordinary hearing. A tiny shift in wind frequency signaled a blizzard, falling air pressure, a surge of extreme cold incoming. Megaglaciers would tilt its ears, turn its head, detect the new wind direction, and survive by avoiding deadly storm zones. In the Age of Ice, weather prediction was one of the most powerful survival weapons. Cracking ice creates deep vibrations, spreads rapidly through the ground, signals danger of flooding or falling into frozen lakes. Mammoths would hear it, stop the herd, change direction, find safe ground. Thanks to this, massive mammoth herds could migrate thousands of kilometers with few accidents. Megaglaciers listened through the wind. Mammoths listened through the earth. Both listened through the instinct of giants, living in a world of silent white. In the Age of Ice, where light was swallowed by snow, hearing was the sense that opened the entire world. The night of the Ice Age, a deep violet sky, snow reflecting the last traces of light into a faint blue glow, cold wind sweeping through, thickening the darkness layer by layer. You look around, but see nothing except blurry shapes. It's so dark you can't tell where the ground ends, where the snow begins, or where the rocks lie. Yet somewhere in that darkness, there are eyes watching you as clearly as if it were daylight. They are the eyes of the American lion, Panthera atrox and Smilodon, two predators built to see through the frozen night, where the pale blue light of ice becomes their greatest advantage. The American lion had wide eye sockets, large pupils, a tapetum lucidum far stronger than modern lions, the ability to reflect moonlight, ice light, and snow light. This allowed them to see clear silhouettes, detect the smallest movements, track prey from afar, in extremely weak light. In the Ice Age, they were hunters of the night, not of the day. More than just powerful, Smilodon was a master of night hunting thanks to extremely wide pupil dilation, a very strong reflective eye layer, rod cells in the retina nearly twice as numerous as those in modern big cats, the ability to use the snow's reflected light, even when humans saw the night as a solid wall of darkness. Smilodon saw faint, moving shapes, breath drifting into the air, the outline of a body beneath its fur, every subtle motion of its prey. It didn't intimidate with a roar. It arrived in silence, guided by eyes built to dominate the dark. Ice reflects the blue spectrum of light, keeps the Ice Age night from ever being completely black, creates faint contrast along the ground. For humans, that light is far too weak to see anything clearly. But for Smilodon and the American lion, it is the illumination of another world. Enough to see shapes, enough to follow prey trails, enough to track a bison herd through the night. The night of the Ice Age wasn't dark to them. It was only dark to creatures not evolved to survive in it. Rod cells allow motion detection, low light contrast, image formation, even when light is nearly zero. American lions and Smilodon could track the movement of breath, see a tail flick, notice a shadow shifting behind a shrub, detect faint sounds through changes in light. Humans see night black. They see night blue-gray, filled with detail. It could hear the position of a breath, see the faint movement of shadows, sense slight tremors in the ground. Assemble all of that information like piecing together a photograph. The result: it knows where the prey is, which way it's turning, whether it's trembling or standing still, while the prey has no idea it's being watched. That is why Smilodon was a perfect assassin. Studies of bone and brain structure show a highly developed, low-light visual processing region, pupils adapted to minimal light, a body designed for cool nights rather than glaring days, daytime blizzards, strong winds, harsh reflective glare. Night, quiet, ideal for ambush, visual advantage. The Ice Age was the era of blue nocturnal light, and the American lion was the creature that mastered it. Snow reflecting blue light creates the perfect background glow for the silhouette of a Smilodon, the low stalking posture of a lion, its hidden path beneath the snow, its ability to blend into darkness. When you see the soft blue light of an Ice Age night, they have already been watching you for a long time. Bison, mammoths, woolly rhinos, large eyes, but not built for night vision, see poorly in faint light, struggle to detect predators lying still. But American lions and Smilodon see 3-4 times farther in darkness, identify low-lying shapes in the snow, notice the subtle twitch of startled prey. Night is when these predators become ghosts. Warm breath melts tiny snow crystals in the air, creating tiny light reflections. Humans see nothing, but their eyes collect faint light, increase contrast, create a glowing dot at the location of the prey's breath. That is why they strike exactly at the prey's weak point in the night. Their vision is a pathway, a weapon, an instinct, a lifeline, an absolute advantage. And that is why the Ice Age night belonged to Smilodon and the American lion, just as the day belonged to mammoths and megaglaciers. Imagine placing your hand on the frozen ground, cold to the bone, hard as stone, completely silent. But to a mammoth, This ground is not silent at all. It whispers. It delivers messages. It tells the story of animals moving kilometers away. It trembles like a deep, hidden melody, one that can only be heard by senses shaped over millions of years. In the frozen world, where wind can erase sound and snow can erase tracks, the mammoth possessed a sense almost no other creature had, the ability to feel ground vibrations. This sense made them the walking radar towers of the Ice Age. Beneath the skin of a mammoth's foot lay special fat tissues that transmit vibrations, dense sensory nerves, a bone structure that amplifies resonance, a thick cushion that absorbs shock yet preserves the vibrations. They didn't just hear with their feet, they translated the ground's messages into images in their minds. They knew the direction another mammoth herd was moving, the estimated distance, the herd's speed, even the herd's level of anxiety based on the rhythm of their steps. It wasn't just sound, it was signal. Mammoths produced vocal frequencies of 5 to 15 hertzes, too low for human ears, but incredibly good at traveling through earth and ice, spreading 8-10 kilometers under good conditions. A mammoth far away would speak into the ground. The entire herd would receive it through their feet and react instantly. It was seismic language, a form of communication we've only just begun to understand. On the icy steppe, far-range visibility was blocked by snow. Strong winds erased orientation. The terrain hid deadly traps of thin ice. But mammoths always knew where their herd was, always followed the correct path, never got lost, even in blinding whiteouts. They sensed their herd through the ground, without needing sight, without needing sound. When the American lion sprinted, Smilodon moved in close. A dire wolf pack circled around. The ground vibrated with their rhythm. The mammoth would tilt its head, raise its ears, stamp its foot to send an alarm signal, and the entire herd instantly shifted formation. This is why Smilodon almost never attacked a full-grown mammoth. Mammoths were never caught off guard. Cracking ice produces low, subtle rumbles that travel quickly through earth and ice, revealing danger ahead. The mammoth would hear it, avoid it, and change course before the ice collapsed. This ability kept them alive in a world full of natural traps. The winds of the Ice Age were extremely strong. They made the earth tremble, carried low-frequency sounds from afar, and helped mammoths detect storms. They sensed strong vibrations, heavy winds, rapid vibrations, approaching blizzard, low-frequency rumbling, dropping pressure, a major storm coming. They read the weather in ways the human eye could never detect. This brain region was far more developed than in modern elephants, connected directly to visual and auditory areas, creating a spatial map inside the mammoth's mind. They perceived ground vibrations the way humans perceive light. This was the sixth sense of the Ice Age. A single mammoth foot stamp sent a low-frequency wave across the ground, felt instantly by others, delivering information faster than a roar. In research facilities today, modern elephants still do this, but mammoths did it better, farther, and with greater precision. During migration, mammoths had to travel from valley to grassland, across icy mountains, through fierce winds, past snow traps. Vibration sensing helped them follow the correct trails, avoid predator zones, move like a river, slow, steady, unstoppable. It's no coincidence mammoths were the greatest long-distance migrants of the Ice Age. They heard the ground, the ice, footsteps, storms, distant herds, Predators approaching. They understood the world through vibrations, as if the earth itself were their silent guide. In the Ice Age, where the world was cold, dark, and unforgiving, the mammoth's feet were its most powerful senses, revealing a new way to understand nature. The earth is always speaking, you just have to know how to listen. In the mist-covered, sparse forest of the Ice Age, the air is so cold your breath dissolves into the darkness the moment it leaves you. The snow beneath your feet is soft and swallows every sound. A gentle wind blows, carrying the scent of birch and dry grass. And then you feel it. Someone is watching you, silently, very close. A solid, muscular, low, extremely heavy form. Two long, curved, saber teeth like blades. Claws hidden beneath fur. That is Smilodon, the assassin of the Ice Age. You cannot see it, but it sees you with another sense, the sense that reads heartbeat and breath. Smilodon's chest is exceptionally developed. Massive pectoral muscles, thick ribs, highly sensitive sensory nerves, short fur that transmits vibrations well. When prey steps near, the ground vibrates. The air trembles. The prey's breath creates sound waves. Smilodon does not try to listen with its ears. It senses with its skin, bones, and chest. Like a living drum, when close to prey, heavy breathing, strong vibrations. Fast heartbeat ripples through the ribcage. Muscle tremors, tiny waves across the ground. Smilodon can detect whether the prey is terrified, calm, about to flee, or completely off guard. From that, it knows the exact moment to strike, precise as surgery. Why? Because when the prey inhales, its chest expands, skin tightens, neck muscles shift. Ribs lift, revealing the position of major blood vessels. Weak points exposed for only a few brief moments. In that instant, Smilodon charges, slams the prey down with its forelimbs, opens its jaws to 120 degrees, and drives its saber teeth into the precise spot where major blood vessels lie. One strike. Fast. Clean. Fatal. No wasted energy. No loud, messy struggle. Smilodon had wide nasal cavities, hollow facial bones that amplified sound waves, large whiskers acting as vibration antennas, ultra-sensitive neck muscles that boosted sensory signals. Its whiskers detected micro-airwaves far beyond human perception. When the whiskers trembled slightly, Smilodon knew where the prey was turning, how it was breathing, whether it was trembling, whether it was trying to stay still. This was the sixth sense of a perfect killer. Smilodon wasn't fast like a lion, didn't hunt in packs like the dire wolf, wasn't endurance strong like the short-faced bear, but it had something none of them had: the ability to choose the perfect moment, the moment of death. A moment lasting only 0.2 seconds. Any mistake could break its saber teeth, injure its body, or lose its chance to kill. But Smilodon rarely made mistakes. At night, vision is low. Moonlight on snow creates shadows. Wind distorts sound. But Smilodon hears breath, feels heartbeat, reads vibrations, pinpoints its target before the strike. Night was its domain. It conserved energy by closing in silently, tracking heartbeat, knowing when prey relaxes for a few seconds, striking at the weakest moment. A single blow yet enough to bring down ancient bison, Ice Age horses, North American camels, even young rhinos. It hunted like a tactician, not like a cat that bites at random. Fossil skull studies show large facial and whisker sensory regions, nerve pathways directly linked to motor response, near-instant combat reflexes. Functioning like a personal radar system, it saw the world through wind, through earth, through breath. Within 10-20 meters, almost no prey escaped, even those stronger than it, because it knew when the opponent was afraid. And when the opponent was distracted, it was not the strongest beast, but it was the most sophisticated killer. Heartbeat, breath, trembling, the vibration of the ground, all formed a death song only Smilodon could understand. That is why it survived for hundreds of thousands of years as the most refined predator of the Ice Age, a silent warrior living in a frozen world. On a freezing night of the Ice Age, no roar, no footsteps, no warning signs of danger, only the cold blue glow of the moon reflecting on the snow. Everything is quiet to a brutal degree. But beneath that silence, a battle plan is forming, precise to the millisecond. A large shadow moves across the snow, a solid body, eyes glowing in the dark, shoulder muscles stretching like bowstrings pulled tight. This is Panthera atrox, the American lion, the most powerful nocturnal predator of the Ice Age. And in the darkness, it is not just a hunter of strength, but a master of tactical speed. North American lions weren't the fastest, but they accelerated the quickest in the dark. Unlike modern tigers and lions, Panthera atrox was heavier, had longer legs, had extremely powerful hind muscles, had large paw bones for gripping snow. Their acceleration was so great that 50 kilometers per hour in just 3-4 seconds, with almost no sound, especially effective in the low-light Ice Age nights. Speed wasn't for long chases, but for seizing the one moment when prey let its guard down. Ice Age nights were not fully dark. Snow reflected moonlight. Ice bounced blue light. Air softened the shadows. Humans would see a blue haze, but the American lions saw paths, silhouettes, the breath of prey, tiny movements of bison or wild horses. Night was the time they ruled. Animal footsteps on snow created faint vibrations, made a soft thump crunch sound, changed with weight, changed with breathing, changed with fear or calmness. The American lion could distinguish each type of snow sound, know if prey was tired or strong, know which one was injured, know the direction the herd was moving. They read snow like reading a map. In the dark, they couldn't hunt in large groups, too noisy, too easy to expose. They couldn't chase long distances. Deep snow slowed them. So they hunted in groups of 2-5, with roles: the decoy, the stalker, the ambusher from the side. This strategy is very similar to wolves, but used by a giant cat stronger than a tiger. Bison, North American camels, and elk did not see well in the dark, had poor reaction under blue light, couldn't distinguish low black shapes on the ground, lost orientation when strong winds blew. The American lion exploited this. crawling low, approaching from the upwind side, accelerating when the prey turned its head, striking at the exact moment the prey shifted weight in the snow. One well-timed burst of speed ends the hunt. Panthera atrox used its eyes to track movement, used its ears to hear compressed snow, used its brain to predict the next escape path. It was like having a built-in trajectory computer. When prey ran, eyes saw shadows, ears heard direction, brain predicted the path, legs accelerated at the perfect moment. This was the technique of an intelligent night hunter, not just a muscular cat. Unlike Smilodon, it didn't use long saber teeth, didn't strike directly at the neck, didn't need to slam prey down with shoulder strength. Its main tactic: accelerate, hit the hind legs, throw the prey off balance, force a slide on the snow, make the prey fall backward. Just 1 second of falling, the hunt was over. This was extremely effective in icy terrain where the ground was slick and soft. Ice Age winds hid sound, blurred scent trails, carried breath far away. But the American lion used wind to hide its own scent, to keep prey unaware, to get closer more easily, to strike unexpectedly from the side. Strong wind wasn't their enemy, it was their ally. That was when the blue light was strongest. Shadows stretched long, masking the body. Wind shifted rhythm. Prey slowed down. Bison led the herd toward a safe area. Alertness dropped. They waited for that moment, the golden moment of the assassin. They didn't hunt with sheer power like bears, a single fatal bite like Smilodon, large numbers like wolves. They hunted with eyes optimized for blue light, ears tuned to snow compression, rapid acceleration, small unit coordination, the ability to calculate perfect timing. The Ice Age night was their kingdom, and they ruled it with silence, precision, and speed. On a vast frozen prairie, the sky is dark, snow falls lightly, and the wind blows from the north, carrying the scent of birch and the faint warmth of a distant bison herd on the move. You stand there and hear nothing but the wind, see nothing but the faint blue darkness. But to the dire wolf, the world is overflowing with signals: wind direction, humidity, shifts in scent, tiny fluctuations in temperature, the breath of packmates, the rhythm of the entire pack's footsteps. These invisible pieces of information form a kind of wordless language that the dire wolf uses to coordinate hunts with terrifying precision. Dire wolves sense the tiniest changes in wind to know the exact position of every individual in the pack. When one wolf strays slightly off course, the wind's swirl pattern changes. Its body scent drifts out of sync. Its breath creates a small warm spot in the air. The others know instantly, even from nearly 100 meters away. This isn't telepathy. This is science. Smell plus sound plus heat detection equals an invisible communication network. When a dire wolf accelerates, its breath becomes hotter. It alters the humidity around its mouth and creates a tiny stream of warm air. The wolves behind it sense a packmate is accelerating from the left. A packmate is circling to the right. Prepare to close in. This allows the whole pack to rotate formation, change pursuit angles, without looking at each other, without hearing signals. They listen through the air itself. These hairs, longer than fur in other areas, extremely sensitive to wind, vibrate when warm breath passes nearby, detect changes in air direction too subtle for humans to perceive. When the pack runs, each wolf knows where the wolves on both sides are, just by sensing how the air flows around their bodies, like a kind of biological radar. This is why dire wolf hunting formations almost never broke apart. Science shows the olfactory bulb was 20–30% larger than in modern wolves. The regions that process wind and sound were more developed. The connections between them were denser. This means the dire wolf didn't just smell it, analyzed. It didn't just hear it, interpreted. It didn't just run it, calculated. An Ice Age wolf pack functioned like a single shared brain. While humans could barely see 5 meters ahead, the dire wolf knew the pack's positions, knew the prey's direction, knew wind speed, knew the safest running path, and encircled prey within a precise radius. No light needed, no sound needed, only air. It sounds like a ghost pack, but it is simply evolution. During a hunt, the lead wolf analyzed the route. Wolves on the sides followed the wind and scent. Wolves in the rear followed thermal trails, and the whole formation flowed like water. The result? No collisions, no confusion, no mistiming, no loud noises. This is how a group of 20 dire wolves could move silently as if they were a single organism. During the closing phase, howling would ruin the strategy, so they used breathing instead. A strong exhale signaled push left. A light exhale meant slow down. Changes in breath rhythm, silent communication. You might hear nothing in the night, but the entire pack of dire wolves is talking to one another, with breath, with wind, with scent. When prey panics, the scent of adrenaline, the smell of sweat, changes in skin temperature, faster breathing, all of it leaks into the air. The dire wolf can analyze which one is most afraid, which one is the weakest, which one is about to bolt, which one is injured. That will be the target. Smilodon, strong at close range. American lions, strong at fast ambushes. Short-faced bears, strong at stealing kills. But the dire wolf, strong in strategy, strong in coordination, strong in analysis, strong in unity, moving as a single body. No other predator had teamwork as perfect as this. They read the wind, hear breath, read humidity, analyze scent, track heat, react faster than prey, coordinate like an elite force. In a frozen world, where snow and wind erase all signals, the dire wolf became the master of invisible messages, a creature that used the air itself as a living map. A foggy morning in the Ice Age. White mist covers the ground. Cold wind sweeps through the withered yellow grass. The breath of animals turns into streaks of purple smoke in the dawn light. In that stillness, a massive silhouette appears. The woolly rhinoceros, with thick fur, a body like a moving wall, and a long crescent-shaped horn. It looks slow, but in truth, it possesses a sensory system perfectly engineered for defense. It cannot run fast. It does not hunt. It does not move in large herds. But it is almost impossible to ambush, not because of strength, but because of its sensory shield. Each ear, long, narrow, flexible, able to rotate independently. They can hear snow cracking under a predator's foot, hear micro-vibrations when wind moves through brush, distinguish the stealthy steps of a dire wolf, hear a Smilodon moving like a ghost. When the ears rotate against the wind, it is analyzing distant sounds. Beneath its skin are thick nerve layers, vibration sensors, the ability to detect small ground changes, even while standing still. The ground trembles, it knows something is moving. Air pressure shifts, it knows where the wind carries scent. Soft ground, it avoids snow traps. Vibrations from mammoth herds, it knows when to move away. The rhino doesn't rely on sight. It feels. Its whiskers, long like those of desert animals, highly sensitive to wind, can feel plants bend softly, can measure distance to objects. When the whiskers brush the vegetation, it knows how long ago prey or predators passed by. It knows which direction the wind is carrying scent. It knows which path is safe. This sense allows it to travel through thick fog. The woolly rhinoceros can smell dire wolves from 2-3 kilometers away, detect Smilodon scent through its hormones, distinguish fresh blood, sense when carnivores are nearby. When it detects danger by scent, its head lowers, its horn aims toward the smell, its body turns with the wind. This is a passive defense stance, but terrifying. It doesn't need to distinguish colors, see kilometers ahead, hear high-pitched sounds. It needs to feel the ground, know wind direction, sense nearby objects, read the sound of movement, and it excels at all of it. Smilodon cannot approach from behind. The rhino feels ground vibrations through its hind feet. You cannot approach from the side. Ears rotate 180 degrees. Cannot ambush from the front. Its sense of smell is too strong. Cannot strike while it grazes. Whiskers catch danger in the wind. Dire wolves, excellent coordinators, but cannot get close without detection. Short-faced bears, huge, but cannot deceive the rhino, because when the wind shifts, the rhino immediately turns its head. The woolly rhinoceros is not invincible, but it is extremely hard to surprise. When its sensory system goes red alert, the rhino lowers its head, levels its horn, and charges directly at the threat. Despite its massive body, it can accelerate quickly, become extremely dangerous, and turn a predator into prey in seconds. Few species dared attack the woolly rhino, and if they did, they often regretted it. Wind shifts, a storm is approaching. Humidity rises, snow is about to fall. Ground tremors, ice flow beneath the surface. Temperature drops, fast danger. The rhino can move ahead of storms, find higher ground, travel to safe valleys, avoid freezing to death. This was a critical survival skill in the Ice Age. The Ice Age fog, thick, cold, scattering blue light, reducing visibility to almost zero. But the rhino can hear, can smell, can feel, can read vibrations, can use its whiskers to sweep the space around it. It moves through fog like a creature born from mist. It does not attack first. It does not hunt. It is not fast, but it possesses ears that rotate 180 degrees, a powerful sense of smell, wind-detecting whiskers, vibration-sensing skin, fast defensive reflexes, a body like a steel wall. That is why very few creatures ever chose the woolly rhinoceros as a target. It is not the king of predators, but it is a master of survival in the frozen world. An afternoon on the frozen steppe. The sky is pale grey. Snow lies on the withered yellow grass. The sun hangs low, as if sliding down the silver-white horizon. A herd of ancient bison stands silently in that vast land. No noise, no haste, no fear. But inside their minds, a weather analysis system is at work. More than any other species, ancient bison could smell a blizzard before it formed. Ancient bison possessed an incredibly powerful sense of smell, sensitive even to chemical changes in the atmosphere. Before a snowstorm occurs, ions in the air shift. Humidity rises slightly. A faint metallic scent appears. The wind carries distant cold. Humans cannot sense this. But ancient bison lift their heads, smell each stream of air, rotate their ears toward the wind, sense chemical changes around them. They can smell a storm coming from tens of kilometers away. When air pressure drops, the air grows heavier, the wind shifts. Scents travel differently. The nerves inside the bison's nose are sensitive to these changes, function like a natural barometer, send signals to the brain to begin retreating. That is why bison often move hours before a storm arrives. Ancient bison used the wind as a guide. Wind doesn't only carry scent, it carries information. Bison use it to know where the storm is coming from, know which direction to retreat, know when a wind shift means danger. When the wind grows unusually strong, the herd instantly changes direction. The lead bison guides the group into a safe valley. They avoid freezing to death or being buried in deep snow. Ancient bison fur senses micro-changes in temperature. Their fur is not only for warmth, it is a thermal sensor. When temperature drops rapidly, the fur stands up. Static changes. Cold signals pass through the skin. The bison instantly understands. Temperature is plummeting, a blizzard is coming. This evolutionary reflex helped them survive for hundreds of thousands of years. Strangely, mammoths stay still. Ancient horses keep grazing. North American camels do not react, but the bison move first. Other animals don't know why the bison leave. But a few hours later, thick snowfall, violent wind, a massive storm sweeps the land. The bison avoid death thanks to a sense no other species possesses. It sounds strange, but it's real. The ancient bison's brain had an enlarged olfactory region, dense networks for processing wind scent humidity, linked directly to migration instinct. They did not understand climate science, but they felt it. The Ice Age, massive storms, winds blowing non-stop for 3-4 weeks, sudden temperature crashes, snow covering the entire steppe. Bison knew to move into valleys, find dense forests, avoid strong wind regions, travel 30-50 kilometers whenever a storm approached. That is why they survived so long in such a harsh world. When the ice began to melt, scent of minerals, scent of water, scent of damp earth, scent of new grass began to drift lightly through the air. The bison moved to fresh lands, found new food sources, guided the herd through seasonal changes. This sense made them the season forecasters of the Ice Age. Before giving birth, the female leaves the herd, follows the scent of higher ground, avoids areas prone to ice collapse, chooses places with stable, low-variance wind. This ability helps protect the calf, reduce predation risk, avoid snowstorms, prevent freezing. This is why bison had one of the highest survival rates of the Ice Age. They smell storms, sense temperature, know wind direction, understand the land, predict danger. change their path at the right moment, lead the herd to safety. In the cold, brutal ice age, bison survived not by sharpness like Smilodon, nor by strategy like the direwolf, but through a gentle yet powerful sense, the ability to feel nature before it changed. A frigid morning. The sky is blue-grey. Cold winds carry the scent of fresh snow. The vast ground is blanketed in endless white. You look up and see a tiny black speck against the grey sky. But in reality, it is a creature with eyes sharp as blades, observing the entire world from hundreds of meters above. These are the Ice Age birds, ancient eagles, northern vultures, falcon relatives, Ice Age snowy owls, and many now extinct species. They do more than fly. They see and sense the world from tens of kilometers away. Each of their eyes has more cone cells than a human eye, processes motion at extreme speed, distinguishes tiny differences in brightness, sees clearly, even through a misty sky. They watch bison moving across the steppe, mammoths in deep snow, animal carcasses hidden under mountain shadows, migration streams of herbivores. One blink of a bird equals 4-5 human blinks. Ice Age fog scatters light, but bird eyes evolve to filter blue light, increase contrast, detect moving objects, see through the haze. You see a pale white blur, but they see shape, path, movement, the location of prey. The Ice Age snowy owl has large eyes, pupils that open wide, retinas full of rod cells, wings that fly silently. At night, it detects the movement of a mouse, sees the breath of an Arctic hare, distinguishes moving shadows tens of meters away. It is one of the most sophisticated nocturnal hunters of the Ice Age. Fossil skulls and soft tissue show a developed brain region for magnetoreception. Magnetite, iron, structures in the skull, strong 3D spatial connections. They use Earth's magnetic field to fly over snowy plains without leaving a trace, avoid getting lost on long flights, find migration paths, recognize mountainsides, valleys, and lake surfaces, like carrying a natural compass. Not literally, but by sensing the movement of leaves, snow, ice dust, water vapor in the air, light shifting. They know where strong winds are coming from, that wind shifts signal a storm, which areas of turbulence to avoid, how to use the wind to conserve energy. This is precision flight control at its finest. Many ancient vultures fly at 2,000, 3,000 meters, scan the steppe with extreme long-distance vision, detect carcasses from 10, 15 kilometers, identify approaching predators, choose the safest moment to land. A combination of eyesight plus brain analysis plus wind perception, a rare skill. Ice cracking creates low-frequency sound. This sound travels through the air. Birds of prey hear it, know which areas are unsafe to land. They read natural sounds to avoid danger. When the sun is low, snow reflects light, casting deep shadows. Birds of prey track shadows before seeing the prey itself, predict the path of movement, increase accuracy during their dive. This is a hunting technique unique to them. This vision is larger than most predators, larger than a North American lion's eyes, larger than a wolf's visual processing region, far surpasses Smilodon's visual range. They see more than any other Ice Age species. They see far, deep, clearly, through fog, at night, tracking tiny movements, navigating via Earth's magnetic field, sensing wind. In the Ice Age, where blizzards and darkness obscure everything, birds were the eyes of the Ice Age. They did more than survive. They turned the sky into their domain, a domain that every creature on the ground had to look up to.